BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is our countdown to two-a-days series, our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we're going to be answering about that team in our August 17th preseason football preview here at Big Country Preps. I'm with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom, and tonight, Dan, we're talking about the Brock Eagles.
And this is a Brock team coming off a trip to the state championship game, 15-1 season. And while they lost a fair number of players from that team, 17 of their 32 lettermen, they've got another great squad coming back with 15 lettermen back, including 4 offensive and 5 defensive starters and call-ups from a 9-0 JV squad. So even though they lost some numbers, they're expecting big things again this year.
You know, this is a reload team. This is not a rebuild team. This is a ball club that, yes, they got hit by graduation, but they're always going to lose talent at graduation because they've always got talent to lose. They had a 9-0 JV. They're simply going to reload. This is going to be another good football team. They're going to have 28 players on the roster, which is plenty. They're going to have 15 returning lettermen, which is plenty, and then an abundance of young talent coming up.
Yeah, especially when you look at some of the guys they do return. Quarterback Tyler Moody had a great season for them last year in the first year under Coach Billy Mathis. And then around him, you've got some really nice players. Zach Brewster, a two-way guy, fullback and linebacker, some big offensive linemen and defensive linemen that had huge seasons for him. Hunter Fay at the defensive tackle position, just a junior, had 11 sacks last year. And he's one of many who had that type of season for him. So this is a team with a lot of talent back, like you said. And then the guys that are going to be filling the holes they have will be kids who've experienced a lot of success at the sub-varsity level. So I think this is going to look like a pretty vintage Brock football team this year.
If there's one guy that they lost, it might be irreplaceable. And there's no replacing a guy like Nathan Jones, the tight end who's going to be with the Minnesota Golden Gophers this season. Eli Potts is a pretty good loss as well. Wide receiver who's going to be at Tulsa. Caden Matthews came on strong as well at defensive end. He was really playing well. He's going to be going to Harding. These guys are going to be tough to replace, but they're going to manage. They always do. And I tell you what, having Moody back again as the trigger man with an abundance of skill around him and a big offensive line protecting him. These guys are big, 6'4", 245, 6'4", 250, 6'3", 265. These are the numbers across the board. These guys are going to be big. They're going to get a push up front. It's the Brock Eagles.
Yeah, I agree. I think you look at what they've got in at all levels of that defense. They're going to be very good defensively. We've already talked about some of the weapons they have on offense. This is going to be a really good, strong team that plays, I think, a really interesting schedule. So we'll go ahead and take a quick look at that. Only 4 non-district games because of the size of their district, but they open up with Texarkana Pleasant Grove in a neutral site game at Greenville on August 27th. Follow that with what should be a very exciting game at Wichita Falls Hershey. Then they play Wimberley, another neutral site game at Baylor's McLean Stadium, and they close that out with a game at home against Gunter. So Brock, by choice or not, they loaded up that non-district.
Well,
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but they don't have any choice. I mean, they're gonna when you reach the level of success that Brock has reached, nobody wants to play you, and the only teams that are left are other teams that nobody wants to play. Hershey was great last year. Pleasant Grove is always a powerhouse. Gunter is ranked number 1 in 3AD2. That's a number 1 versus number 1 matchup there on the 16th. Yeah. It's an absolutely brutal non-district schedule, but that's what happens when you go 15-1 and go to the state championship game. Nobody wants to play you. So here we are. But I'll tell you what, they're going to be battle tested when they get into district. They open district play on September 23rd at home against Boyd. Then they travel to Peaster. They are Idle on October 7th. They host Whitesboro. That's a good Whitesboro program, by the way. On October the 14th, they played them twice, once in the playoffs last year. They're at Paradise on the 21st. They host Ponder on the 28th, and then against rival Pilot Point, November 4th. That's again on the road. That's a great schedule. That really is. Even in district play, there's some really tough ball games that, the game against Whitesboro is not going to be any picnic. And on the road at Pilot Point is always tough. And then that non-district slate is, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this district is this is a really, really good 3AD1 district, and I think we could safely say that Brock is a fairly commanding favorite to win it. I mean, you look at how deep that district is. You mentioned Pilot Point, Whitesboro, both very good teams every year, but Paradise and Peaster have both taken steps forward the last few years to the point where I think they're feeling like they're pretty solid playoff teams. And then Boyd has had some good teams in the past. They had the down year last year, but they've always got some talent. So this is a really deep district, and I still think looking at it that it's going to be difficult for any of those teams to beat Brock. So that kind of speaks to the strength that Brock is bringing to the field this year and every year, really.
And with that, it's about time to wrap up tonight's edition of the Countdown to Two-A-Day series, the Brock Eagles. But before we do that, we want to remind you that we've got 3 separate subscription packages here at BigCountryPreps.com. We got a monthly for $5 a month. We've got a semi-annual subscription, 6-month subscription, where we knock that price down to $4 a month. Then we've got an annual 12-month subscription, where we knock that price down to $3 a month, $36 for a full year of Big Country High School athletic coverage. And please note that despite high inflation, we're running with the same prices that we've run with ever since 2018.
We'd also like to remind you one more time before we close out this episode of our Countdown series to be on the lookout for that August 17th preseason football preview. Going to be a ton of area football content. You will definitely not want to miss that. In the meantime, thank you for joining us for this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Day series. And make sure you join us again tomorrow, and we will be talking about the Snyder Tigers here at BigCountryPreps.com.